to compensate for much milk they're giving and the stage of lactation and their body condition.
Can you explain what a transponder is?
Well, it's just it's a little thing you hang around their neck, like a necklace, and it just gives off a signal and tells the computer which cow it is.
And how does that work as far as feeding goes?
Well, they go into a feed station, and it meters out the feed, and this transponder tells the computer that a certain number of cow, say number 1 comes in, she's allotted so much grain. And this transponder tells the computer that cow number 1 is in there, and then the computer takes over and lots of the amount of grain that she's been supposed to be given.
Are they given the allotment all at once?
No, it's spread over 3 4-hour feed periods and a 12-hour feed period, and then there's a 2 12-hour feed periods in a 24-hour day.
What's the idea behind that?
Well, it spreads the grain over and less digestive upsets, and seems to help butterfat yield. This system saved me about 4 pounds of grain a day per cow.
How do you think that system's working for you in general?
Good, I'm really happy with it. When we first put it in, we had a couple of older cows that didn't adapt too well. They got onto it in the next lactation, but the first they just didn't get onto it at all.
Now, what other kind of information can you get out of your system?
Well, it'll tell you when the cows are due to calve, when they're due to breed, and which bull they're bred to, how many times they've been inseminated, and stage of lactation, any illnesses they've had. If you can code in the illnesses, and it'll tell you to keep track of them. How much grain they've eaten in the 12-hour feed period. How much grain is left in your bins. Well, a lot of information.
Did you need any kind of training to operate the system?
No, it didn't take that long to catch on. It's got a fairly good operator's manual, so it's fairly simple. It's not like you don't have to program anything. It's all programmed. You just have to. It's more like pushing, operating a calculator. You just got to push the right buttons to get the right answers. Well, there's various printouts you can get on the printer. It has an automatic printout. Well, you can choose the printout you want every 12 hours. It prints an attention list every 12 hours, and that's the cows you should be looking at. It's ones that are due to be in heat, or due to calve, or due to steam up for calving, or haven't eaten all their grain, or due to dry off, all that. Or you can have various attention lists, individual cow attention lists, or herd review, or herd fertility review, or there's all kinds of lots of lists that you can ask for, call up. Or you can just call it up on the keyboard and it'll tell you the same things without running the printer. On the keyboard here you can call up, say, cow number 3. That tells you the responder number, which is 239. You can you press this number 1, that means feed 1, which is rolled grain. She's programmed to have 7.5 pounds, and she's only got 1 pound left. And for feed 2, she was programmed for 7 pounds. She has only a half a pound left. And you press this one here, tells you when she calved last, which is 23rd of July, and she's 288 days. That's lactation. This tells you when she was in heat. The first time was 77 days, and the last time was 77 days, which means that she was bred at 77 days after she calved, which was the 8th of October. And she was only bred once, and she was bred to bull 22. They're all bred artificially, and I just have the bulls coded to a certain number, a certain bull, and written down, and keep track of that. And this tells you what her calving interval is going to be and when she's due to calve next. And she's due to calve on the 15th of July. And if you want a permanent record of that, or you could have any cow you want, just bring her up, press the cow, and what number you want, say cow number 3, you press print, and you press cow again.
How did you get into this area?
Just reading dairy magazines. I thought it'd be I wasn't happy the way I'm feeding my cows, so I thought this would be an ideal system to go to save feed and increase my butterfat test, which seemed to have done that.
And so you don't regret the money?
No, I think it should pay for itself in about 3 years, I think.
If a farmer is planning environmental control for some of his buildings, a new waste disposal system, or expansion of grain handling and storage facilities, he might have difficulty getting advice and information. A contact he might consider is Saskatchewan Agricultural Engineering Extension.
Well, agricultural engineering is involved in farmstead planning. This includes environmental control in livestock buildings, design of buildings, waste disposal from the livestock in the buildings, grain handling and storage systems, and some machinery systems, say grain drying. Our main contact with the farmers, as far as our part of the operation is concerned, is through the regional farmstead engineer.
Yeah, Henry Van E is building a 40 by 250 foot broiler chicken barn that'll house 15,000 broiler chickens. It's basically a stud wall building with metal on the exterior and plywood, painted plywood on the interior. Now this barn has got a cement floor in it, which is a little unusual for broiler chicken barns in Saskatchewan. It's also got floor heat in it, which is a bit different. The air inlet system is something that's fairly new on the market as well. He's putting it into this barn. Henry came in and bounced some ideas off us, and I did drop some plans for him, just basic blueprints, just more of the overall building, not too much detail on them, just so he gets some quotes and cost estimates off them.
The regional farmstead engineers are engineers or agricultural mechanics grads from the College of Agriculture, so they are practical people who buy experience and training. So being that they contact the farmers on a day-to-day basis, you know, they have the practical feel for what's important to the farmer. In our position, we have to understand the practicalities. And in some cases, we may deal with farmers' individual problems if it's something that really requires a specialist. But in the main, I think the information we prepare is of a general nature, and the farmstead engineer, because of his knowledge of the farmer and his knowledge of the area, applies that information to his client's needs.
Get ready, get going. It won't stay long. Get that bold new taste before it's gone.
McDonald's Cheddar Melts.
Head for that beef, a quarter pound on a toasted rye bun, nothing like it around.
McDonald's Cheddar Melts.
With cheddar sauce, grilled onions too. A big bold taste from McDonald's to you. For a limited time, just $1.59. It's a good time for the great taste.
Cheddar Melt.
McDonald's, just till March 1st.
Watch for your copy of CBC's fantastic February sales flyer. Inside you'll find pages filled with program schedules and stories of CBC television and radio, along with fantastic buys from local businesses. Read details on how you can win a trip for two, courtesy Norcan Air. Match the photos and names of 6 CBC Saskatchewan personalities, and enter your name to see the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees in the Metrodome. Enter in person and drop off your ballot at any participating business. The fantastic February sales flyer arriving the week of February 9th. Don't miss it.
Experience is still the best teacher, and a farmer's instinct can never be ruled out. However, technology is taking a lot of guesswork out of the business. One such area is soil testing. A farmer can have a complete analysis of his soil by sending samples to a lab, such as the operation at the University of Saskatchewan.
The samples are first received and placed into cases, numbered and so on. Then the tests are carried out. The pH and conductivity tests being carried out in this room here at the back, in which soil and water are just mixed up, and the pH and conductivity measured in the soil water suspension. Also, the extraction of nutrients takes place in this room, and in the case of those tests, first a measured amount of soil is placed into flasks, then an extracting solution is added, and they're kept mixed up for half an hour or so. During that time, nutrients are dissolved out of the soil sample into the solution. After that mixing period, then the suspensions are poured into a series of funnels with filter papers. The filter paper should stop the soil from going through, and what will come out the bottom is a clear so-called soil extract, which contains the nutrients that were dissolved out of the samples. And if the soil test is of any value, the nutrient levels in those extracts from the soil should be in some way related to the ability of those particular soils to supply those nutrients to crops in the field. So those extracts are taken and chemical analyses are performed with the autoanalyzers to determine the amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur that were extracted from the soils. Those values are taken and recorded. All the information is entered into the computer along with the information the farmer supplied about his field and his samples. And at the end of the procedure, then the soil test report is printed. It indicates what we measured on the samples and also what we recommend in terms of fertilizer applications for the crop to be grown. The objective of the whole thing is to allow the farmer to put on the most profitable rates of each of the fertilizer nutrients for growth in that year. The samples would either be taken by the producer himself, in which case we would supply all the information required about sampling in the boxes for the samples and so on, or they might be taken by his fertilizer dealer if the dealer offers that service. And as well, we have a network of approximately 30 soil sampling agents who have hydraulic equipment and go and do the field sampling of soils as sort of a sideline business. They may be farmers, whatever. The cost that we charge for the analysis and providing the recommendations for per field or per sampled area is $24, and that would usually include analysis of samples from 3 different depths and providing the recommendations.
Do you have the odd home gardener getting in on the sampling?
Oh yes, we do analyze quite a number of samples from gardens, 200 or 300 a year. In those cases, you know, they don't want recommendations for wheat and barley and so on, but so we have to take each set of results and analyze it and make recommendations separately on it. The primary purpose of the soil testing is to determine what's there, and it can't be done just, you know, without an analysis. You know, we can make general statements like, well, after a very dry year with poor production, you're likely to have more available nitrogen left in your soil. But really, we don't know that for sure for a given field unless we actually go out and do the analysis.
Agricultural chemicals have become a way of life in much of today's farming. A basic concern is the way the chemicals are handled, and it's always a problem getting the information out to the people who use the products.
There are 64,000 farmers in Saskatchewan. To educate 64,000 people is a problem of mass education, and it is a problem, mainly because the education process is quite slow. But I think farmers today are generally very interested in pesticides and their safe use, and they're interested in minimizing their exposure to minimize side effects from using the chemicals. A lot of farmers are not aware of safety precautions that should be taken, mainly because perhaps they don't read the label, study the label well. And a lot aren't aware of the safety equipment that's available to them now in Saskatchewan. Safety supply stores, a lot of the farm supply stores, elevator agents, and some hardwares now carry good lines of safety equipment. And I think once farmers realize that the equipment is available and the benefits that can be derived from using it, that they are much more willing to use it.
Labeling is all necessary. There's no other way around it. What is on the label is the way the product should be used, and no other way, really. If the farmer or the user prefers or determines that he's going to use it some other way, he's outside the law. This is a label that's typical of most products on the market. I'd say all products on the market, because labels have to be standard according to Agriculture Canada. You see the name of the product on the front panel, the common name, the formulation, it's a liquid in this case. What it does, it's a grassy killer for control of grassy weeds in crops. This is a symbol which shows basically in total what to expect as risk from this product. This is a warning sign, and it shows a poison symbol within the warning sign. So as a warning sign, there are various signs. There's a danger, a warning, and a caution. This would be a medium risk product. It says here, read the label before using, and keep away from children. Here we have the guarantee of the product, what it is, that's in there. And we also have the broad use of the product. It's commercial. It can be used by all farmers. It cannot be used for home use, nor is it a restricted use. And here we have the registration of the product, registration number according to the Pest Control Products Act. And of course, our name and our address.
Other areas of the label indicate directions for use, including rates of application, guarantee of product, precautions, what results from an accident, what to do in case of an accident, toxicological information for medical people, and poison centers, plus directives from Agriculture Canada and Environment Canada.
And that constitutes a label.
You have to remember that every population has a range of sensitivity to toxic chemicals. Some people are very sensitive, others are not sensitive at all and can tolerate much higher exposure. And but generally speaking, for the general population, if the safety recommendations as prescribed or as outlined on pesticide labels are followed, the farmer should not experience any health problems.
The family farm is in trouble. Will it survive? Indeed, should it survive?
Well, if a small corner store goes out of business, what kind of assistance does it get? I think it gets nothing usually, and I don't think farmers should get any assistance either.
When you lose a farm, you literally have a strip torn off your identity.
Watch An Uncertain Future today on Country Canada.
Tuesday.
David's being charged with criminal negligence causing death.
Chuck's going to prove them wrong.
It's making me crazy. I know this kid. He didn't shoot anybody.
Street Legal. Best on the Box. Tuesday night on CBC Television.
I'm not going to hurt you.
The Mounties are back, and Abe's girls are out to get their men.
Ooh.
Red Surge, premiering February 19th on CBC Television.
Where's the candle?
It was here last winter.
This isn't last winter, this is this winter.
Here's the can it goes in.
A lot of heat that'll make a can with no candle.
Oh, the blanket's gone too. You should have checked the forecast.
I should have checked the forecast. We don't even have a scraper.
I'm freezing.
So am I.
It can happen here. Prepare for tomorrow, today.
This week on Countryside, raising buffalo. Is it a viable alternative to raising cattle? We look at agricultural research projects at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon. And canola, the Cinderella crop that may be losing its luster. Watch Countryside, Monday at 7 on CBC Television, Regina.
Wild oats cost farmers hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. The plants choke out his crops, and the seeds reduce his payments when he delivers his grain to the elevator. Professor Bill Quick is in a head-to-head battle with this formidable weed.
I spend much of my time out at the research station up at Canada Agriculture, just outside of Regina. It's just about a mile across from the university. And what I'm most interested in here is basic research on wild oats, the type of thing that you can see in these flats around about us. There's a number of ways in which you can control wild oats. There's cultural methods, cultivation, fertilizer levels, and so on. There's methods, herbicide control methods, and there's also biological control methods. And it's the biological aspects that I'm most interested in. I have a total of 3 students working with me this summer. One student is working on a very basic problem as to why seeds remain dormant in the first place. Germination is a pretty tricky thing. A seed can germinate, it can extend out a little bit and form a little root, but it may not continue growing. Other seeds will take up a lot of water. They'll just sit there and sit there possibly for months or years. She's hoping that by studying the production of amylases, which is an enzyme, that she may be able to find out whether or not this has any effect upon whether a seed germinates or not.
Wild oat seeds themselves have some peculiar characteristics when they encounter moisture.
That's right. They're very effective in spreading themselves over quite a wide surface of ground, finding holes in the ground, dropping into them. If you put a few drops of water on dry wild oat seeds, they squirm like a bunch of ants. It's a very interesting sight to watch them. It's not a slow process. They move, they tumble, they'll cover 6 inches this way, 6 inches that way, and if there's any deep crevices in the soil in the vicinity, they drop in, they bury themselves, they're all set to come up and give you trouble next year. I have another student who's working out in the field with 2 or 3 different varieties of wild oats that we've encountered. They're different in shape, they're different in size, they're different in their growth habits. And I also have another student who's extensively working in field studies for me. We like to work from little glass studies where we can make a few basic observations. We'd like to extend it out to controlled environment, then to studies in the greenhouse, such as we're looking at here, and finally field applications. Only then can you be sure that what looks interesting in the laboratory really means something when it's applied to the field situation. It used to be said that wild oats might remain in the soil for anywhere up to 5 or 6 years without germinating. We had a recent report that in Nevada, I believe it is, they only last for about 2 years. It can't be our wild oats. I know a friend of mine out in Indian Head who shoved down a blow dirt pile that had been assembled during the Depression. It was accumulated there about 1935 or 36, I believe, and he shoved it down so he could use wider implement swaths in the 1960s. He found wild oat seeds still viable underneath there, and that's a matter of 20, 30 years.
Now you have another area, you have a controlled growth area, I believe you call it. What's happening there?
What we do there is very, very carefully control the environmental characteristics. We find the effect of temperature. For example, this is basic research again. We find that wild oat seeds, which mature on the plant at high temperatures, such as you encounter in the summer months, are less dormant than those which mature under conditions when the weather is fairly cool. It's quite a bit of difference. A seed that normally will germinate in, shall we say, 5 months, if it's matured under very cool conditions, might take anywhere up to 1 year or 2 years before it's ready to germinate. Light is another factor. If seeds are exposed to light, we find they don't germinate well at all, which is, I suppose, why the wild oat seeds strive so strenuously to find cracks in the ground to bury themselves in. There's other aspects also that might be considered. We found that phosphorus fertilizers, if there's sufficient phosphate in the fertilizer applied, the seeds resulting are far less dormant than those that are starved, more or less, of phosphorus. Now, over the past 6 or 7 years, we must have turned out as many as 20 papers. I myself, Dr. Raju, who collaborates with me at the university, and more particularly Dr. Shao and his associates at the research station here. This type of collaboration between applied scientists and basic researchers such as myself has turned out to be a very, very fruitful collaboration. Wild oats is an intriguing plant. I have much though I hate to say it, I have a lot of admiration for it. It seems to survive all efforts that we bring against it and emerge triumphant. Eventually, we'll slow it down. I don't think we'll ever completely stop it. It's just too good a competitor.
And that's our look at some of the resources that are lining up behind the farmer. With drought, grasshoppers, high interest rates, and low prices for his products, he can use all the help he can get. I'm Holly Preston. Thank you for watching A Fine Science.
This is CBC Television.